Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Glad to have you on this Thursday. It's going to be a wet one out there. Stay dry. Take you an umbrella with you. It's all supposed to rain kind of heavily at times. So glad to have you. Hope all is well. Looking forward to a fun day. Coach Griff will join us. Dustin, Schutte, Matt Taylor, and Steve Wiltfong from the On3 Network, talking some football recruiting as things looking good for Indiana, as you can imagine. Things going pretty well in the recruiting area. A lot of guys have, how can you not? How can you not pay attention to what's going on with the Indiana Hoosiers? And all that they're doing so well this season. They've won about every stinking award you can win, and they keep on rolling. Congratulations to them, and hope that it keeps on going. But that's what success breeds success. We'll talk more about that. Not all about it, though. You can go to thehoosier.com and keep up with everything that is going on. Jason will tell you. He's a subscriber. 5 left. Are you a subscriber? If you're not, I'm going to be highly disappointed. And for those of you out there, if you're not a subscriber to thehoosier.com, I'm disappointed in you, man. That's how they need you to help them. And if you subscribe today, you're listening right now, and it doesn't matter anytime. Today is Thursday. Send me an email to indianasportsbeat@gmail.com. Just showing that your confirmation of your subscription today, and I will send you for free an Indiana IU embroidered quarter zip red, and it has the ISB logo on there as well. That's for free. For free. Not only do you get the Hoosier.com, you get a free subscription to The Athletic. You get all the teams. You can check out what's going on with Kentucky, with Purdue, with whomever Indiana is playing. Their chat boards, get in there and grind it up a little bit. Matt Taylor joined us. Man, the Colts. Things aren't going great for the Colts, of course. You've got to appreciate you, Fred. He's a card-carrying member, as we appreciate him very, very much. And we appreciate everybody, but I think Cheryl is as well. But really appreciate if you guys would do that. That's how the content comes to you. Content regarding the Rose Bowl and whatever else that's going on. And speaking of, for those of you that are in the Bloomington area or visit for games, whatnot, if you're not going to the game or if looking for a place before or after, Dave & Buster's, they've got specials for all IU games. The Rose Bowl, you got 10 wings for $10, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas. It's a great place to catch the game with your family or friends. Bring your kids. They can go have fun playing games. And if it's on a Sunday, that's a fun day. Half price games. So plan your next watch party at Dave & Buster's here in Bloomington and have fun doing it. And there's going to be some times where we'll go over there and do that. For away games and whatnot, where we're not traveling. So come join us. Appreciate you. Looking forward to that. One of those days where you're just going to be staying inside, not doing a lot. It's wet out there. It is wet out there, and it's supposed to be rain heavily at times today. So we got that going for you, which is nice. Hey, lots of stuff happening. First of all, the Bears looking for new digs, new stadium. 3 days before hosting their biggest game at Soldier Field in years, the Chicago Bears are exploring moving outside of the city for which they are named and to Indiana. How crazy would that be? In an open letter, I think this is just And before I even get into this, I think this is just a way to, well, if you all don't do what we want you to do, then we're going to take this to Indiana. In an open letter to fans on Wednesday evening, team president and CEO Kevin Warren said the Bears will explore other options, locations, including outside of Cook County, where the team owns a 326-acre property in Arlington Heights, Illinois, to build a domed stadium. We'll talk about that. The Bears in a domed stadium. Don't know if I like that. Just for tradition. But that includes the possibility of moving out of Illinois altogether. In addition to Arlington Park, we need to expand our search and critically evaluate opportunities throughout the wider Chicagoland region, including Northwest Indiana, Warren said. Yeah, this is not about leverage. There it is. There it is. I didn't expect him to acknowledge it, but the hell it's not. Who are you kidding? Yes, it is. So there's that. Who cares? That's all blah, blah, blah. All right, how about this? We'll talk about this when Griff joins at in the next segment. Yeah, we'll wait till the next segment. We'll talk about this. But all right, Kalshi is the newest rage of betting. It's not officially betting, but it is betting. And they got something going on that the NCAA is not happy about, which I can imagine. But it's a prediction. It's called a prediction market. Prediction market Kalshi notified a federal regulator on Wednesday that it was self-certifying markets on whether college athletes will enter the transfer portal. And while the company says it has no immediate plans to begin offering trading on the portal, the decision still drew sharp criticism from the NCAA. What that means is they would start predicting players that are going to go into the portal. And you could just bet yes, no. Where do they think it's going to stop? First of all, how can you stop it? There's if they're not doing anything illegal, just because you don't like it, you can't stop it. So, Cheryl, we appreciate you tremendously. Cheryl Sizemore, card-carrying member of the Hoosier.com. One of the people that helps bring you this content. People, appreciate you. Really, really need you. Especially, what a great Christmas gift. Seriously, think about that. If you have friends that are Hoosiers that you buy Christmas gifts for, family, kids, whatever, there's not a better gift in the world than that. Gives to them every day, constantly, year-round. Year-round. In a filing submitted, getting back to Kalshi, in a filing submitted to the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC, Kalshi wrote that contracts on the transfer portal will initially be listed December 17, and that it intends to list such markets daily. Transfer portal markets were not appearing on the site as of 8 p.m. Wednesday. We certify markets all the time that we do not end up listing, a Kalshi company spokesperson told ESPN. Woo! I don't have all the ins and outs of how this would affect and the effects that this would have. So I'm not going to act like I'm an expert. First I've heard of it, as many of you. I can only imagine problems causing, especially if someone hasn't entered. It's now you're putting up information that not necessarily a guess, but not necessarily something that's going to happen. It can happen. Predictive. Are you encouraging said behavior? So it's going to get into a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take that break. We got plenty to talk about, including more on that. What are your thoughts there? Yeah. We'll see. Hey, up next, Coach Griff will join us. Plenty more coming at you. Appreciate you being with us. Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Get your umbrella. Take it with you. You gonna need it. Back with more after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing. Or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. It's going to be a wet one out there. Take your umbrella with you. It's going to be raining. I look out there now, though. It doesn't look too bad. Coach Griff with us. How's it going?
Good. Very good. Just trying to get ready for this holiday season that's fastly approaching. And
you're not kidding. Let me tell you, I looked up calendar on the wall here in the studios and looked up yesterday, and I was like, holy crap. Christmas is a week from now.
I know.
I was like, oh gosh. And people can hear that and laugh and go, what's wrong with you? I'm like, well, there's a lot of things wrong with me.
Yeah.
But, you don't understand. I mean, my life is like a mole, just head down, and all of a sudden, boom, hit concrete or something. Like what?
And that's when you know it's the holiday.
Yeah, it's like, oops. Got to get that stuff in, man. Got to get the only thing I got to really worry about is getting Kylie's stuff in. And one thing I'm going to end up missing time-wise. So that's great because she can get it for her birthday. But there's this thing called a Giftful. It's kind of cool. You set up a wish list. People can go in.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like what do you call that when you get married?
Wedding registry.
Yeah. Registry. There you go. So it's kind of cool. Very helpful. And
it helps guys like me.
I had 2 accounts though. Oh. But it doesn't help you when you have 2 accounts. No. And you don't know you have 2 accounts.
Yeah.
And both you and her mom are trying to figure out, well, who took this? Because it's taken, but nobody knows who it is, and there's no one's name popping up next to it. And I'm like, God, and I finally found in my second account that it was me and it wasn't taken care of yet. So
you had the answers.
Yeah, that's
Well, it helps me because when you've been married for 33 years, you're trying to figure out what gift can you get that you haven't already gotten. And sometimes, it's one of those repeats that you did maybe 20 years ago.
I
It's just
gotta
advanced.
yeah.
But you're right. The list of the registering or whatever, the Amazon wish list or things of that nature are a big help because, like you said, it helps lessen the burden of trying to guess what somebody may or may not want.
Absolutely. I know what Indiana fans want, baby. They want a natty in football. Was thinking, how possible is it that the Big Ten gets a natty in both sports this year? Right now, they have one of the number one teams in basketball in the college coaches poll with the Michigan Wolverines at the top. But also you've got Purdue and Michigan State and many teams in the Big Ten that are very, very good. You have more teams in the Big Ten in basketball that are better at the top than football. But in football, you've got the teams that are, I think, the two best teams in the country without question in Indiana and Ohio State. And I think that Oregon
is close by.
Might be third. I mean,
they're close
I'd
by.
love to see Oregon and Georgia play. To be honest with you, because that would be cool to see the Final Four be between three Big Ten teams and
one SEC
SEC team, and see the SEC team get booted.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Grace
Bye-bye.
Sankey would have a cardiac arrest if that happens.
Bye-bye. They would have to have 14. They would say next year they would need every team gets into the tournament. This is just ludicrous. The SEC must get every team in.
Yeah, they go from 7 to getting 12 in, right? That's a not a high probability, but a probability that could absolutely happen that way. And you talked about the Big Ten's depth in basketball when it comes to the depth of the teams that are really good. And you look at football, it's now, I think, starting to get into that mold where you're going to have those 5-6 teams that are going to be really good with the addition of Matt Campbell at Penn State, which I think he'll do a great job there. You got Fitz and now at Michigan State. That identity with Michigan State was a perfect fit as well. And so you got to feel that those coaches are going to elevate in that respect. We'll find out what Michigan does right now. I'm not sure who wants the job at Michigan because of the complete disarray that has become.
Oh, trust me, there are plenty of people that will take the Michigan job. That I assure you.
Yeah,
even if it's in a mess, when you have the money that they have, it's a lot easier to clean a mess and just restart.
Well, they're gonna.
It's still Michigan.
Yeah, the problem exists is because of the situation with the AD there, because I got a feeling that he is probably on his way out the door from the standpoint of the number of transgressions he's seen in the department, not just football. I mean, they've had issues in hockey and some other sports, but when you flip the AD and next thing you're trying to hire a coach that may not be hired by the AD, it kind of creates something that coaches really don't like because they want to be that guy. But we'll see what happens. You're correct. I mean, Michigan's still Michigan, irregardless of what is or is not happening there, because they are one of the true blue bloods of the Big Ten in the country. But again, I do think with some of the additional hires that have been made and some of the Big Ten teams this year that may have been closer than maybe what people thought, I do think there's getting to be that strength right there in that middle pack that could create some great football in years to come, and be a rival to the SEC that they already are, but maybe not as deep as the SEC seems to be. Yeah, that's a big
seems to be, because I think that's crap, to be honest with you. And I'm going to start with Texas A&M.
Yeah, right.
What the flip has Texas A&M done? They beat Notre Dame. Okay. A team that
that's
didn't
about
make
it.
the college football playoffs.
Should've
What
lost
the hell
South
else
Carolina.
did you do? You beat nobody. You played the weakest freaking schedule. I mean, the record of the teams they played is horrible.
Mhm.
Horrible. They had a couple of decent games. That's it. It's only because they're in the SEC, if they're even considered being, they were number 3 and they were awful.
Mhm.
I'm like, God, give me a break. It's
They
a
were
joke. They're not that good. Texas is okay. Texas A&M is okay.
Yeah.
They're better than average, but for having all these teams and only 12 spots for the national playoff, you would think that all 12 would be, pretty
Mhm.
decent from the bottom up. That's not the case. I mean, they're
No.
okay, but it's not. You should have a shot at winning the tournament with there only 12 teams. All 12 should have a chance to win the freaking tournament, and it's not even close.
Yeah,
Half
right.
of these teams don't have a shot at winning their first game.
Mhm.
James Madison is not beating Oregon in Oregon.
Mhm.
Sorry,
Yeah, that's
not
the
going to
problem.
happen.
Yeah.
I don't think Tulane beats Ole Miss at Ole Miss.
Well,
They've
both
already
those
lost
teams,
to them.
both those teams you pointed out are already double-digit underdogs, and I think James Madison is a 3-touchdown underdog against Oregon, if I'm not mistaken. It may be the other way around, but maybe Tulane. But anyway, I do think that's the problem with the Group of 5 situation that has occurred. The ACC is the one that put that into existence where James Madison got in. I do think a lot of teams are going to go back and look at their tiebreakers as it pertains to their conference championships, if we have them. I mean, we don't even know. That may be something that is taken out of the equation, whether it's next year or the years after. But you cannot get into a situation like the ACC did, having Duke get into the conference championship game and beat Virginia, and all of a sudden now you're sitting there where a G5 team gets into the mix, and it really took a spot away from whoever else that may have been there, like a Notre Dame, to get in that respect. So it'll be an interesting debate topic that they'll have, but like you said, the field's set. We'll see what all happens. Indiana will hopefully benefit from the time away to heal some bumps and bruises. But I do feel that if there's anybody that can handle the mental aspect of things when it comes to having these breaks or these weeks off, so to speak, I give Sig the best opportunity to have a team ready coming off a layoff. Like Indiana will experience last year. Those teams that had a bye in the first round, I think they all lost their first game in the tourney last year, if memory serves me correct. So it's not a great not a great track record of the bye being any type of an advantage. But
last year of the bye, you had 2 of those teams didn't even deserve to be in the. At least one of them didn't even deserve to freaking be. It should not have been in that situation.
Mm-hmm, right.
So that was kind of wonky there. And then you get upsets. Not really an upset. Then you get Oregon seeded to have to play Ohio State right off the bat. So it was kind of wonky. But I don't think we see that this year, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. I think at least 3 out of the 4 win.
Yeah,
Texas Tech is a team I could see losing.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be some really good first round games like we're accustomed to seeing.
Well, speaking of which, Alabama, Oklahoma tomorrow night to determine Indiana's opponent. What do you got? What do you think?
Well, when you look at it from the black and white of it, you got to feel that Alabama has a distinct advantage looking at the game they played about a month ago, where Alabama just basically, gave Oklahoma the game. I mean, they moved the ball between the 20-yard lines pretty good. I think they had over 500 yards, if I'm not mistaken, on that day. I'd have to go back and look, but they turned the ball over. And when you turn the ball over, especially against the defense like Oklahoma has, they're pretty opportunistic. Now, the problem with Oklahoma has been their offense. I mean, they just don't have one, other than the quarterback in his situation. But he's got that hand injury, so you don't know how good he really is.
He's recovered. He's recovered from that by now, isn't he?
Well, it seems it seems that appears to be the outward projection of the matter, but you don't know the true aspect of that.
I've heard more about Ty Simpson having
I guess it's a back situation, if I'm not mistaken, but he's going to play. I mean, he's practicing and such. So I doubt if he's not playing on Friday night. But again, you got to feel that Alabama has the overall strength in that game. I think they're a 1.5 favorite, if I'm not mistaken. And but Oklahoma, I mean, their defense is really good, and that's the thing. If they can, bore the game down to the point where they play field position and put their offense in the best possible position and force Alabama to drive the long field, then who knows what could happen there. But should be a really good game, as will other games that day and Saturday as well. And but it's going to be an interesting deal. It's been interesting from the standpoint this week of having a chance, and Zach Browning did a nice article yesterday looking at the roster, because those are the things that in the background are going on with the roster management group that's there at Indiana, the scouting department, I guess you could say, at Indiana, that are fully entrenched in this portal because of how short it is. It opens the 2nd, it closes the 16th. You look at Indiana's roster in terms of who's, graduating, potentially declaring, things of that nature, the uncertainty of players that were injured that could come back. And you start looking at that, and you can kind of see where Indiana really needs some portal help. And you got a 14-day window at the same time you're trying to play for the college football playoffs and an opportunity to go to the national championship. So it's going to be some double duty here for about the next month or so of them trying to fit needs, because there's no spring portal. And that's where Indiana's done so good, is the spring as opposed to the first window. So it's going to be busy for Indiana when it comes to not just for preparation, but trying to get kids in and out the door for potential portal targets.
Absolutely. We've got a lot coming up today. Dustin Schutte on the program. He'll join us next from Purdue on SI, and we'll talk some more football, Big Ten football with him. Then we'll go to basketball after that in the next segment, if he can stick around. We'll talk some Big Ten hoops. Indiana Sports Beat Radio, we're rolling on. Appreciate you being with us. We've got more coming up. We're back with it on the other side right after these messages.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, joining you back here on this Thursday. Dustin Schutte from Boilers on SI joining us now. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Can't complain. I've got my umbrella ready, baby.
It's going to be
my
like
umbrella.
a balmy holiday season.
What kind of a season?
Balmy 60 degrees for Christmas.
Oh, I missed that.
I missed that too, but I like it.
Yeah, I knew it was going to bounce up like right now. We've been freezing the last couple of days. I mean, it's been crazy. But what is the? I haven't seen that. I knew it was going to rain like Moses today. But
here in St. Louis,
I'm not. Now, you're speaking of Christmas as if I would know when that is. Other than
That's
I
true.
do know it's December 25th, and
it's
my
next
brain.
week.
But my brain does not often correlate. I kind of know that today is like the 17th or the 18th just because of writing it and all that. But my brain does not correlate. There's a very, very short window between the 17th or 18th and the 25th. And it is right upon us. And like I told Coach earlier, I'm like a mole. I'm just boom. All of a sudden, I hit a brick wall. I'm like, wait, what? Huh? Oh, crap. It's Christmas. Oh, gosh. Yeah, so got that going. But thank gosh for online. I mean, if this was the modern age and I had to literally go out and shop to get the stuff that I had to get, forget about it. Forget about it. Not happening. No. I would probably die myself. I would probably die. I would just die. I was like, not doing it. Not gonna happen. Wouldn't be prudent at this.
We had it so rough back in the day, going to all these malls and
Yeah.
That was just a hangout and get an Orange Julius, baby.
That's right. Or a what's that pretzel place, Annie Ann's or something, whatever the pretzel place is.
But that's still alive. That's where our guy worked. Better Call Saul, man.
That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's where Saul went to work in Nebraska when he was hiding out. He's hiding out. Hey, I saw something that blew my mind with the 60 Minutes piece on Indiana football. It was talking about a lot of things that mentioned that after the 2023 season, Indiana spent like $60 million on football. And I'm like, first of all, people probably get confused. That's not $60 million in salary, and not players, not coaches.
Yeah,
it might be part of it, but it's not all of it. Trust me. They actually spent less than Purdue. It was like very close. They were both like 60 point something, but it just shows you that you can't just look at raw numbers. You have to understand how they're broken down. And then you add in the fact that, Indiana's spending that now, but what were they spending before? Very little. So that's another thing. But it shows that Purdue is spending the same money. They already have the facilities. They have a great practice facility. Oh my. Their facilities are they were ahead of the game in that regard. They with Jeff Brom got them going in that direction. So their pieces are in place to actually do what they need, building the program. Signetti did it kind of backwards, and the more I heard him talk, coach too, I'm like, well, he acts like Indiana was just barren, and I'm like, now I've been in there, and it wasn't exactly barren, but definitely not.
He wasn't very positive. Let's just put it that way.
No, and I was a little surprised because we knew, they had all the locker room upgrades and all this, and but I'm still.
He was critical of the office space. He was critical of the.
That's what shocked me because I was like,
yeah, he's like 1980 decor, and I was like, really? I didn't think it that way.
I think it was maybe the wood. Who knows? But
yeah,
irrelevant. But my point is, so Purdue seems to have Barry Odom is a coach that seems to be one that can get it done. I don't know, and Cignetti has really screwed it for everybody. Everybody wants Cignetti results, and they want them now. Just doesn't work out. If it was that damn easy, everybody would do it. But
yeah,
what does a program like Purdue do? Who is one of the, they're down there at the bottom right now. So, but they're able to pull guys in. They just flipped the kid from Santa Claus who was going to Ole Miss. So it's not like they can't get recruits.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens during this portal cycle. Obviously, they had to completely redo their roster last year. They had more than 80 new players. They had 50-some players from the transfer portal. And unlike Curt Cignetti, this is not a knock on Curt Cignetti. This is just the difference between the two. A lot of those kids that played for him at UNLV weren't able to transfer over. So he's also reteaching a lot of, what they want to do at Purdue to a lot of new kids, and trying to form that chemistry, I think, got really difficult. They did make some changes on the offensive staff. They parted ways with their running backs coach. They parted ways with their offensive line coach. I don't know that was the only two things they needed to do. But I'm also not somebody who says fire the entire staff after 1 year, right? So it all comes down to the players at this point. Can you get the type of talent that's needed to compete at the Big Ten level? I think there's no doubt about the last 2 years. They just haven't had that level of talent. That's not to say they should have won a few games this last year. They should have they had chances to beat USC, should have beat Rutgers, should have beat Minnesota, had an opportunity to beat Michigan on the road. So to me, it's all about, you have to take that next step by getting Big Ten level players into your program. And so that's going to be interesting. They've had one starting defensive lineman, Jamarian Harkless, enter the transfer portal. Backup quarterback Malachi Singleton plans to enter, and then a starting offensive lineman, Hank Purvis, intends to transfer too. Now,
is that all the Kelsey betting line?
So what's that?
I'm kidding. I said the Kelsey. Is that all the Kelsey predictive metrics?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Silly. I was just saying, you got to be able to bring in some high level talent, and they had some guys. Dylan Thieneman was an All-American as a freshman. Will Helt transferred to Clemson. He was a really good defensive end for him. They've had some really good receivers. Deion Burks was there. Nick Scorsese played there. So you're right. They've been able to get talent in the past, but now it's a matter of going out and not only establishing a firm recruiting base, but you've also got to be able to pull guys in from the portal. So if they lose a lot of their key players, and I know that's hard to talk about on a 2-10 team, it could be another type of year where you're looking at rebuilding again, right? So it's the next couple of weeks are very important for Purdue football if they want to try to get this thing headed in a positive direction.
I agree. I think that I have been very, very kind to Purdue. I was very kind to them over last season. I said, hey, you know what? They got into a bad situation. Everybody, that happens. Indiana happened to everybody. They got Barry Odom. I'm like, it looks like a good hire. And it's everything. And it still seems that way. It hasn't shown it on the field, like you said. And I'm like, hey, should have won a couple games. You got to win. So not going to give him a break there, but hey, you get another season, and as long as you see progress, you see it moving forward, then you are like, okay, because sometimes it takes a minute for those wheels to catch, especially when you're coming in, he's wiped out, the team's wiped out. You're in a league that's got some badass teams in it, teams that are winning the national championship. It's not like you're playing against Joe Schmoes. You're not playing in the ACC here. That I'm bump, ding. Rim shot.
I actually thought one of the best compliments Purdue got was at the end of the season. when
Did Indiana only beat them 56?
Only beat him by 53 this year. But in the post game, when he said, my arrival kind of turned, coincided with their hitting rock bottom. Yeah. And he talked about, he's like, they're a much better team than they were a season ago. And I think for fans, I think it's really hard to see when you're 2-10 and you have a second straight winless season in the Big Ten. But that's Curt Cignetti's the guy who's not going to bite his tongue. Like if he thinks you're not a good football team, he might put a nice spin on it, but he'll tell you about it. And I think he did that.
Especially when he knows it's a team he's supposed to kind of jab. And he's supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to jab Purdue. That's part of being the IU guy. The fans want to hear that.
Right. And so I thought that was at least, it's awfully hard to look at a positive after a 56-3 loss. But I think if you want to take one positive, at least there are some other coaches who say, you know what, they did a good job coaching this team. They don't have maybe the talent that they need, but they are better. And we'll just see where it goes. I can tell you right now, there's not a lot of optimism surrounding the team. I'm going to be interested to see what ticket sales look like. They've got to start winning some games next year, or it will get ugly again, just like it was for Ryan Walters. There's a no compromise. People, and by the way, Purdue fans don't necessarily, at this point, they're not really even concerned about a Cignetti-like turnaround or getting to at some point they'd like to be in consideration for a Big Ten championship. Just get to 6 wins. Just be competitive in those games, and that's a major step forward.
Yeah, because now I just thought of this. Purdue, one of the teams that are chasing the Big Ten championship in basketball again this year. But this is the last ride of the James gang. This is the last ride of Braden Smith and Fletcher Lawyer and Trey Kaufman Wren. Take care of that core. This is it for them. What happens? Not like Purdue basketball is going to fall off the planet, but they've had this core, and this core has ushered in this change in college athletics, and it will kind of pass the torch to the next generation of Purdue basketball players once they leave. And boy, where does that go? Because Matt Painter, he's been able to buck the trend so far and successfully do it. What happens when these guys leave?
Well, they do have, they've still been able to recruit at a high level at the high school level. I think they're bringing in Luke Ertl, he was a 3-star kid when they started recruiting him.
He's good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Now he's a top 50 kid. They were able to recruit another 7-foot center who will be headed to West Lafayette next year. They've got a kid, Antoine West, who agreed to redshirt this year. I think he's a Carson Edwards type player. I'm not going to say he is the next Carson Edwards. Obviously, that's a pretty high bar to set, but he's a really good defensive player, and he's right now probably a streaky shooter, but a guy who could just light you up for 30 points. Seeing him in practice a few times, he's going to be a really good player for them. I don't know. Like Matt Painter has said, I'll basically go to the portal when I have to, and saying like there could be a season where for whatever reason, a couple guys leave the program. You can't necessarily always control what's going to happen, but I think what's been important is he's not a guy who chases a lot of he's not a star chaser. He's not recruiting guys simply because they're a top 10 caliber player or a top 20 player on 24/7 Sports or On 3 or whatever their ranking is. He doesn't care. Do they fit what he wants to do at Purdue? And when you tend to find those guys, those are the guys that end up staying. They've had some guys in the past that just didn't work out for them, whether it was offensive scheme or playing time or whatever the case might be, who have left and been really successful. Brian Waddell is a really good player at Bellarmine. Miles Colvin has just had a 33-point game at Wake Forest. So
Brian Waddell.
I don't think
I just like saying Purdue's, that name, Waddell.
It is a fun name to say. They've had a couple,
especially down in Kentucky. Do you see that? You see that boy? You see that Waddell boy play? That boy can play some ball now. Yeah, Waddell. Yeah, Waddell. That boy.
Well, it fits. He's in Louisville now, so works out really well for him. I don't think Purdue's going anywhere. Obviously, Matt Painter has said he thinks this is his best team, best shot to win a national championship, just in terms of the depth and what they're able to do.
That puts a target on you.
Yeah, but now,
how can that be his best team when he had the 2-time player of the year? He does not have the 2-time player of the year playing. I don't care what anybody thinks about Braden Smith.
Well, I agree. So I think you could say the 2023-24 team was, or this team was, but in terms of their depth and their ability to be a little bit more versatile than they were in that 23-24 season. However, the way I look at it is whether or not it's his best team or not, or his best chance to win a national championship. He's not hiding behind the expectations and saying, well, I didn't say that, or we think we have a pretty good team. Like, he wants to win a national championship. He thinks he has a team good enough. And so I think there are a lot of coaches who would, pull the reins on that a little bit and not want to talk about that. But he's made it very clear. Everybody on that roster's made it very clear. We want to win a national championship. Obviously, getting there and doing that is a very difficult thing, but I give them credit. They don't back away from that level of expectation. And I think that there's a tendency to just kind of say the coach speak or the player speak, where it's, well, we're only worried about one game at a time and this and that. But all off season and at times this season, they've talked about winning a national championship. And so I give them credit for at least embracing those expectations, because they know how skilled they are. They got run out of the gym against Iowa State. So they obviously have plenty of room for improvement. And in this Big Ten with Michigan, Michigan State, UCLA, Illinois is really good. Nebraska's undefeated. It's going to be hard to win the Big Ten, let alone a national title.
I don't see him winning the Big Ten, only because I've been on Michigan since before the season started. And
Michigan's really good. Yeah.
I'm not backing off of that. But daggone, I forgot what I was going to say. What you just said, something that triggered something in my mind, daggone it. But no, Matt Boehner is not, he doesn't walk away from anything. He knows what it is. But if they had Zach Edey on this team, I'd say I'd ask who's gonna beat him? Who's gonna stop him? But they don't. And so it's I don't see it happening. But hey, it's why they play the games.
Right.
So that's
I would
a good part of it.
Well, the only thing I would add to that is, and again, people can disagree. I'm not, there's a long season to go. The one thing I would say is people probably look at this team and getting beat by Iowa State and talking about, well, they're not as good as Michigan or, Duke or Arizona or some of those other teams that have some really good wins on their resume as well. But the one thing I would say is this is a team that got run out of the gym by Auburn exactly a year ago in Birmingham. Basically, Painter has said, like, we were lucky to get beat by 20 that game. Like, we were fighting like hell to only get beat by 20. And they turned around and they were an offensive foul call, a one bucket, whatever, defensive laps, however you want to view that, from getting to the Elite Eight and probably beating Tennessee and going back to the Final Four. So as long as they continue to improve, I think they're going to be in the fight and in the hunt. The one thing that they had going for them, Jim, that's going to be really interesting is they obviously want to be the number one overall seed, because that path is St. Louis, Chicago, and then Indianapolis. If Michigan's the number one overall seed, or Iowa State or one of those other teams, that's going to be the St. Louis, Chicago, Indianapolis path. So you probably still get a St. Louis spot in those first two rounds, but then you're probably having to go to DC or San Jose in the second round. And that could make things a little bit more interesting, because you kind of take away some of that home court advantage.
Home court advantage. That's so huge in basketball. And in football, we don't look at it quite the same. As we'll talk more about that in the next segment with stuff. But the Big Ten gone so long without a national championship, Dustin. What their chances are as good this year as in a long time, because you've got Michigan at the top, you got Purdue, you've got Michigan State. Those three teams are the three teams I see worthy of being able to win a national title. I don't think anybody else can in the Big Ten from what I've seen so far, but that's three teams that can win a national championship. I don't know any, I don't think there's a team in the SEC that I've seen that's a national champion worthy yet. ACC, yes, absolutely. Big 12, yes. So it's going to be a nice mix. We'll see. And how cool would it be to see the Big Ten win a national championship in football for a third straight season, and then in basketball? That would, boy, that would. Coach said, talk about Sankey earlier. That would put Feinbaum just in a rest home.
Yeah, that is.
He'd be in a rest home.
Yeah, that would be.
Big Ten. Big Ten. Big Ten.
That would rile up some
Paul,
people.
Eat your jello, Paul. Big Ten. Like red rum.
Yeah.
Red rum.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, man, and I'm sure you guys covered because I wasn't able to join last week. The stuff at Michigan, man, is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure there was plenty of details on that.
Let's,
I don't need to get into it.
We'll get back to that in the next segment. We'll switch back to football so we can keep it in line because we got the big games coming up this weekend to be played. In addition to the portal is about to we're
January 2nd, right?
We're 2 weeks. We're 2 weeks from Saturday or Friday. 2 weeks from this Friday.
Yeah.
Right.
Jim knows when the transfer portal window opens. He doesn't know what day Christmas is.
Well, I know what day it's on, but I just didn't know it was that close. That is a sad state of affairs. Yes, you don't have to remind me that the portal's coming up. I know that one. Hits why again I might be single, people. But yes, but yeah, it's and it also means that Indiana will have played its first football game. So, but again, we'll get to that. Back to that. Big Ten basketball, Indiana, bro. I tried to have high hopes for them because I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what they're going to be like.
Yeah.
I do know. I mean, I know what they're going to be like. I didn't know where their success level would lie. I had a guess. I don't think I'm going to be too far off, but they're going to have to work their ass off just to stay where I thought that they could be, which would be in that bottom of the top 9. Which, if you want to make the tournament, you better be in the top 9. While the Big Ten is extraordinarily strong at the top, when you are that strong at the top, you're going to beat the crap out of more teams in the middle that would normally kind of beat up on each other. Well, these are going to get beat up from like 6, 7 teams. The Big Ten goes like 6 deep of solid teams that are just going to beat so that means you got to play at least 6 or 7 teams that are guaranteed in the top 20 probably. And some of those, maybe half of those twice. It's not an easy route.
The thing that's interesting to me about this Indiana team, and I'm just going to say I don't think they're very good. I had a little bit higher expectations than most, so I'm going to put that on me. But this is a team to me that's like, if they shoot the ball well, is there anybody that they can't beat? Like, and they do have the ability to shoot the ball well from deep, and that's a quality that they hadn't had in a long, long time. So I give them credit for that. But if you catch them on the wrong day in Assembly Hall, I think that they can beat anybody. Legitimately can beat anybody.
If they're shooting like they shot against, or I shouldn't say they, because it was mainly Lamar Wilkerson.
Right. Against
Lamar Wilkerson went off. But see, the problem you saw at Kentucky just into the second half, he picks up his 4th foul, goes to the bench, and then down goes the Hoosiers. It just collapsed at that moment. They had nothing for them. They don't have Tucker DeVries is that other guy, but just couldn't be that guy by himself. Without Lamar out there, and they don't have a third guy. That's what they don't have. They don't have a third guy to help the second guy in the event the first guy is, whatever.
Right.
If that makes sense. But you've got to have a duo. You can't win it by yourself. And Lamar Wilkerson and Tucker DeVries are a great duo. But when either one of them are not out there, they're no longer a duo. So you've got to have, otherwise, guess what? They focus on whatever they can do. So that's just my thoughts on that. It's just and it's they're not big enough. They're not deep
Yeah,
enough.
they can't rebound. That's the big
that is a
problem.
big problem.
They out rebounded Kentucky, but not on. It was the offensive end that
Into
just
the end, yeah.
destroyed them. They between the second chance points and the turnovers, it was crazy. Hey, we've got to take a break. We got more coming up. Back with it on Indiana Sports Beat Radio after these messages. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Whether it's a night out with the family, after work with colleagues, or catching the game with friends, Bubba's 33 is the place for you. Bubba's 33 offers a mouthwatering menu of selections that are all made from scratch every day. The portions are big, but the prices are small. And with over 50 big screen TVs, you'll never miss the big game. Bubba's 33, pizza, burgers, beer. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Glad to have you along, no matter where or how you're listening. And for all of our peeps up in Bloomington, or if you're visiting, Dave & Buster's over at the College Mall, they've got specials for all IU games. We'll actually be out there for some away games and doing some watch parties and whatnot. Great place to set up a watch party, birthday party for the kids. Just watch a game with friends. Rose Bowl Day game, 10 wings for $10, $5 drafts, $5 margaritas. We won't be there. We'll be in Pasadena. They've got 3 gigantic large wall TVs, over 20 big screens and audio sources to get all the entertainment out. Like I said, plan your next watch party or even birthday party. Dave & Buster's. Sunday is fun day, fun day, fun day. Half price for all games for the kids. So that's it. What a great thing. Take the kids out. Just go. They're having a blast. You watching the game. I mean, is there a better setup in life for dads, to be able to do both, do a little mixture there, watching some sports, checking it out, letting the kids have a blast. Lots of stuff coming up. Michigan, by gosh, we're investigating ourselves.
Damn it, that's done in the past.
By God, we're going to investigate ourselves. Damn it. My only clue or question was, did Ward Manuel order this investigation? The guy who is overseeing all of this crap. That to me is responsible.
President.
That is responsible for this. I'm like, you are the clown. You're the asshat that kept putting these morons in power. When Jim Harbaugh was cheating his ass off and you knew it and was getting suspended left and right, and you're just putting him right back because, he finally beat Ohio State. He was winning. So that's all that matters. Because at Michigan, by God, you can cheat your ass off in football. You can lie. You can avoid investigators. You can throw your phone in a pond. You can delete everything on it. But by God, you cannot have a relationship with somebody. That will get you fired. Now, I'm not saying he's not an idiot and a moron, but that just shows you what they care about. It's just, to me, it's an excuse to fire him, because I've always said he only got the job because he was the fall guy for all the crap that already went down under Ward Manuel. Ward Manuel's the guy that put this moron in place.
Yeah.
Knowing all of this, after the guy did all that, deleted all this stuff. He deleted it. He did not. But yet, here's your reward. We're going to make you head coach of one of the biggest programs in all of sports.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think two things can be true on this situation. Number one is the guy's just a jackass. I think that's 100% accurate.
Which one are we talking about here? Which jackass? We talking about
all of them.
Jim Harbaugh? We talking about Sharon Moore? We talking about Connor Stallions? Ward Manuel? We got a lot of jackasses up in Ann Arbor, baby.
We do. Yeah, I'm going to go with Sharon Moore on this one. Shouldn't have been doing what he was doing. So that's number one.
Yeah.
But the second part of this is, and I've heard this mentioned, if he beats Ohio State and they're in the playoff conversation, does this come out? Or does Michigan try to cover it up like they did everything else? And that's we don't know. That's a legitimate question, because we see this in college football. Look,
here's the thing.
To
Michigan
me, Michigan
knew they were going nowhere football under Sharon Moore. They knew it. They know it.
But this investigation dates back a year. Well, not the investigation. Michigan had knowledge of this a year ago per multiple reports.
Yeah.
So, like, this isn't a new situation.
They were an item for 2 years. They've been an item for 2 years because of and you cannot tell me that it wasn't well known if somebody's involved with somebody for 2 years, especially his direct report. I mean, that in itself was where the stupidity begins, because that's like, cardinal sin number one. And then, number two is like Jim, you were alluding to with the AD, where's his culpability in all this? Because, he knew about this, and he's playing like I had no idea this was happening in my program. Well, that's why the NCAA gave you, told you when you had the sign stealing situation, you better get your house in order. But the president is one that I guess ordered this outside investigation now, because
how do you not?
I think that was the big thing, is that the Board of Regents and things of that, the pressure mounted to the point where let's get the outside looking on the inside and get this thing under control. But
there's no doubt that Ward Manuel is gone. They're going to do whatever they can to phrase it however they want. But right now, one of the things aside, they're not involved in the investigation. They've got people doing it, the outside, like you said. But what they are doing, they're working on who their next athletics director is going to be. That is something they've got to get figured out. Toot sweet.
Yeah, they got to get that completed. But I think that, who are they going to get to be their coach? That's going to be the big question. I mean, Biff Poggi, who was at Charlotte when Indiana played them.
No.
There's that crutch for right now, and that's good for this time being. But who's going to be that next person that steps into it? And I doubt if you're going to let the AD make that decision, and that's the other question, is who makes that decision, who that next guy will be. Because you can't let an AD that's, 95% out the door make that hire.
Oh, no. Right. You mean like LSU? Oh, he ain't gonna have no. Yeah, he not gonna have any man on who the next coach here. We gonna get us a good coach. Good coach. We gonna win some ball game. Well, we gonna win a ball game now. Well, it's Coach Old. I'll come back. Y'all can have me as a coach, kid. Y'all can. As a matter of fact, you can have me and just fire me. I don't have to coach a game. Just come in, let me come in, and you can fire me and say, "Here's the check. Where's the back door?" And I'm gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, he had his own issues at LSU with the hospital situation and defunding a children's hospital or foundation or something to get. Here's the thing, though. This was an interesting stat to me. In the last 2.5 years, Michigan has needed to use 6 interim coaches to cover suspensions and or firings and or going to the NFL. 6 in 2.5 years. That has to be a record.
Is yes.
There's also a record of the
extraordinary.
number of Jim Harbaugh staffers. I think it's 7 that have been arrested since he took over, which
Oh, my.
unreal. So like it's been, and the other thing that people forget too, like Ward Manuel also hired Juwan Howard, and remember slapped another coach during the handshake line, like assaulted another basketball. So like he's not a good decision maker. But again, Michigan was beating Ohio State, winning Big Ten championships, so nobody cares. But they are, to me, Michigan is the LSU of the Big Ten. Just kind of like a slime ball situation all around.
They've become that, right?
Yeah, they didn't used to be, but they have become
the Michigan man doesn't hold that symbolism as it once did under Bo Schembechler, what a Michigan man was, because look what the Michigan man has done to that athletic program, and the AD is a former football player. So I mean, it's out of hand. It's crazy. But that 6 interim coaches over the last 2 years, that in itself is that. If you can't look at that and say there's a problem, but I also blame the Big Ten in this matter too, because I don't think the Big Ten did enough to Michigan because they were fearful of getting sued by Michigan, and they did not want that PR nightmare. But they can see now they should have done more. They should have done more in this.
Well, my question too to some of this is, and I don't know the answer, and maybe you guys do. If I'm the Big Ten and I guess the Big Ten wouldn't have, but if the college football playoff were to negate Michigan's championship, does then that money they earned from winning those games go away? Does that go away from the Big Ten? Is it in the Big Ten's best interest to say we couldn't find anything substantial here to try to fend off the playoff or the NCAA or whatever? I don't know the answer to that. And it may not be a relevant factor, but it was something I think it's just at least something that crossed my mind when all of that popped up. Jim disappeared on us.
No, well, I mean, that's a good summarization of what does happen to the dollars in the event a vacated win in the playoffs, or somebody like Michigan wins the national title, but all of a sudden they find out that they're not doing the right things and they vacate all their wins and make them forfeit. I would assume that the money that would be involved in that scenario would revert back to that group or whoever, divides it out, pocketbook, but who knows in that respect. I'm getting called and hailed by everybody now, but it's a complete, what show there in Ann Arbor, and it does give the Big Ten a big black eye. And it's just one of those things that they've got to get themselves on the right path for the sake of their program, because that's what's holding on to a thread now, is their football program, who's been year in, year out one of the best in the country, is now on the brink of collapsing. I mean, you've got a lot of players there. I give them a lot of credit because they have not lost anybody that's opted out that I know of from playing in their bowl game, which is really kind of amazing in that respect. So you got to give the kids their due, that they stuck it out and they stuck in there without bailing, which a lot of them could have done very easily for the standpoint of, I don't want to play in a bowl game now because of this embarrassment, and I do not want to risk injury because of my NFL potential, and so forth and so on. So you got to give them kudos for that by sticking it out and staying together.
Coach, but you talk about that. I go back to NIL and rev share. How is, whatever you call it, it's a contract that you have signed for your NIL stuff and rev share. How do schools not tie in playing the entire schedule, including postseason games, as part of being paid in the rev share? It's not like this. Is this a situation where we're going to pay you and you can play in the games that you want to play in? Really? Is that how it works? Again,
Give me this freaking job.
Yeah.
Why are we not getting again? I'm glad to see the players getting paid, but I'm not glad to see them having the power in every way, shape, and form in with what goes forward. Now they're controlling the postseason. They're controlling when they play games or not that they've already been paid for, probably.
I just saw today the UT is it San Antonio that's playing in the bowl game have 17 opt-outs already.
See, that just drives me insane.
17 opt-outs in that regard. I don't know what these kids are or are not signing via their representative. I mean, in some cases, you would think that would be something people should be able to see, especially against at a public institution by, FOIA request about looking at what is in the, wording of if you don't play an X game, you lose X amount of dollars or however that looks. I don't know. Maybe they forfeit a game check. I don't know if they do it by game or however they do it, but you would think correctly that you should be playing in bowl games if you're getting NIL money. And now we've made it because now it's become college football playoffs are not. That's what it is. I mean, because you don't see any kids bailing out of the college football playoffs.
Yep.
Either.
What's up next for you, Dustin?
Oh man, Auburn, Purdue at the Indy Classic Gainbridge Fieldhouse on Saturday. Should be a fun one.
Looking forward to it, brother. Coach Griff, appreciate you as well. Enjoy watching the games tomorrow night. Who you got?
Absolutely.
Who's your pick?
I say Alabama.
Dustin?
Right now.
Yeah, I would say Alabama too.
Yeah, that's my hope. Appreciate you guys. We've got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio, the voice of the Colts. Matthew Taylor joins us next. Back with more right after these messages.
The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here.
Know a team or group needing a fundraiser? Boost Fundraising raises more money faster and offers the most unique and user-friendly online fundraiser in the nation. Your team receives personalized fundraising pages for each team member. Free team-branded promo gifts shipped to each donor. Boost Fundraising does it all. Sports teams, marching bands, charity causes, and community groups. Go to boostfundraising.com and be sure to enter the promo code COYLE, that's COYLE, to receive a discounted fundraiser. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemore@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today. When it comes to apparel and promotions, Freethink has you covered, literally, whether it's 24 or 200 shirts for sports leagues, businesses, or groups. Freethink Apparel and Promotions can also create your very own merchandising store. Freethink Apparel and Promotions did it for Indiana Sports Beat Radio, and they can do it for you. Whether it's screen printing, embroidery, digital printing, promotional products, vehicle wraps, or anything else under the promotional line. See what Freethink Apparel and Promotions can do for you at freethinkapparel.com. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. I hope you're staying dry and taking out your umbrella. Ella. We got Matt Taylor. Ella. How's it going, brother?
man, you are on it. I don't even know what to say. Holy smokes, that was good. Gosh,
what you gonna do, man?
You're getting after it on a Thursday at 10 a.m., man. You're the model of energy. I'm loving
ubiquitous. I like to get after it at 1, at 5, whenever we've got to do it, baby. It's every day. But how have you been? I know it's been a rough goal for the Colts, but actually kind of cool with old man Rivers coming back and playing inspired ball. Man, he almost
he almost shocked the world, boy. Boy, that would have been something to see. But how the hell do you, and at his age, go from being at home on the couch, which I know he's, not getting completely totally fat and sassy, but seriously, in professional sports, come off the couch after 5 years and play in an NFL game. Literally walk from your couch to the huddle.
That's it, man. Yeah, I mean, the week before, he was literally watching the Colts game at home with his family and his kids. I mean, the only way to explain it is he's Phillip Rivers. And, I mean, listen, did he look 44 years old at times? I mean, does he absolutely. Does he, still have he doesn't look the way he did in 2020 when he was last in the NFL and played for the Colts, but he'd be the first one to tell you that. And he also had a good line last week when he met with reporters for the first time, and he meant it in jest, but it's also true when you think about it. I mean, he said, don't worry about what I look and don't worry about, how I fill out my uniform. Because, I mean, I played 16, 17 years in the NFL, and I didn't run away from anybody anyways, right? So, I mean, he's not going to try and do those things and, do his limitations. And so, I mean, the Colts are signing him because, like I said, he's Phillip Rivers, and, the most important muscle on his body is his brain, and that's still functioning at a very, very high level, and that's why he's here. So, I mean, I think you guys probably talked about it last week. I think some of the shock and the awe has kind of worn off a little bit because we're on to the next thing, and the news cycle never stops. But I think once people got past the surprise element or the you got to be kidding me moments of Phillip Rivers coming out of retirement and try and quarterback this team for the last 4 games of the season. When you kind of boil it down, I mean, the Colts just lost some major footing inside the AFC South with that loss a couple of weeks ago to the Jaguars. And then they lose their starting quarterback in Daniel Jones for the year. He's out with an Achilles injury. So, I mean, it was a really bad afternoon for the franchise. The Colts were in a bad spot. And, I mean, if you think about it, there's just not a whole lot of viable options. I mean, the Colts started the year 7-1, 8-2, and they're trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 2020. I mean, this season's been all about and going all in and trying to do right by the core group of players that have been part of this roster for a long time, that have been ready to go, that are built to win. There's just been a lot of quarterback instability around it. We've talked about that ad nauseum, since I've been coming on your show forever. And so, I mean, listen, I think the Indy Star did a really good job last week of putting a lot of context around just how crappy of a situation the Colts were in. And they detailed it. There have been 16 quarterbacks since the start of the regular season that have tried out for NFL rosters. And of those 16 quarterbacks, only 6 of them have ever started a game in the NFL. So when people, I got asked a lot last week, like, is Phillip Rivers the best option? Yeah, he is. I mean, believe it or not. I mean, it's really hard to find viable players at any position, let alone quarterback, this late in the season, just because, you're in week 15, you're in the month of December, and the trade deadline has come and gone, so you can't make a trade, at this juncture of the year too. So I thought he did some really nice things. I really did. I thought the game plan obviously was very specific to try to win that game against that team that day, where the game was, going up against that defense, being top 3 and basically everything. So, I mean, some have joked it was an archaic offense and it looked like dinosaurs out there. I get it. But I think no matter who the quarterback was, you were going to see some sort of semblance of that game plan to try and, ground out the running game with Jonathan Taylor, shorten the game with long possessions, limit the possessions of Seattle's offense. And the defense played well enough that it almost worked. So obviously they're going to have to continue to stack upon the offense in this game against San Francisco. But, again, like I said, he was Phillip Rivers out there knowing where to go with the football at all times.
The 49ers have a backup that are familiar to a lot of fans in the Hoosier State.
That's right. He's back, and he dealt with an injury this year with Curtis Rourke, and so he's back. And but that's the thing. I mean, like, think about it like this. And then this is another way to sort of contextualize it. I mean, there's roughly, there's a hair over 60 quarterbacks on active rosters in the NFL, right? Most teams have a practice squad quarterback on their rosters. So that's roughly 90 quarterbacks. And then you throw in all the guys who are banged up or on injured reserve, that's roughly 100 quarterbacks. So that's 100 different options not available to the Colts when it comes to selecting a quarterback in week 15 when your starter goes down. And, I get the fact that, I mean, some are saying, Riley Leonard's banged up a little bit. And he's also, I mean, do you really want Riley Leonard starting his first NFL game on the road against the Seattle defense in Seattle when you got to win? It's not a must-win game, but it really feels like a must-win game when you're on a slide. So, I mean, that was your other option, which isn't viable, all that viable either. So I don't begrudge the Colts at all for making this move. I know they've caught in a lot of flack and some criticism, outside from national media but again, they're just trying to win a football game. And they're trying to do, right by the roster that's, again, still pretty set and ready to go and to making the playoffs.
Well, even though he wasn't their guy, it doesn't help the fact that Anthony Richardson also on the shelf.
Exactly. I mean, that's another thing. I mean, I think people lose sight of that too. They're like, well, just point to Richardson. Well, he's not available to play. He's still on injured reserve. He's still dealing and recovering from an orbital fracture in his eye. We've talked about this before. I mean, just very bizarre scene. Pre-game warm-ups in the locker room before a Week 6 game at Lucas Oil Stadium against the Cardinals. He's warming up before the game with, like stretch bands, and the apparatus that he used to, attach the band to his body, snapped, and part of it broke off and flew into his face. I mean, that's serious stuff. I mean, and that's what's really disappointing, just from in an isolated capsule with Anthony Richardson. This is just such a missed opportunity for him. It's obviously, no fault of his own, but just given everything that he's been through, I think I have a strong gut that if he's healthy and doesn't go through that orbital deal, he's here and he's healthy and quarterbacking this team, and Phillip Rivers is not here. And, Richardson is getting another shot to see, who he is, or to show who he is rather, and to show what he can be, and, show off some maturity and growth after what happened to him last year with the roller coaster of being benched and, statistical unevenness on the field. So, there's a lot of questions going forward, not only about the last 3 games of the season, but who the Colts are going to be going forward, starting in free agency with Daniel Jones only on a 1-year deal.
The great Steve Wiltfong from On3 is going to join us in the next segment. We're going to talk about college football recruiting. The NFL has its own type of recruiting, but it's way different. It's done from afar. You're watching, and these games that are coming up, Matt, and the college football playoff games with all of these great teams, tons of top talent on there. Are GMs watching these games? Coaches probably not so much, but GMs and personnel like that watching these games, paying attention?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got one eye on the draft at all times, all year long, and the scouts are working overtime right now. I think most people realize this, but every team has, area scouts that scour different regions of the country, right? The Colts have Northeast scouts and Southeast scouts, and they have scouts out West. And so they're going to games all year long. And I think, the highly touted players and the highly touted matchups, things always get leaked. I think, just the case in point 2 weeks ago, right? That Big Ten championship game when you had Ohio State and Indiana and so many, top-notch players and draftable players on both sides. You always hear things being leaked that, there's X amount of scouts from X amount of teams in attendance in the press box watching this game. So, I mean, it's going to be here before you know it. I mean, the bell's going to go off on this 2025 season, as soon as 3 weeks from now. Hopefully it's a little bit longer and prolonged. But as soon as that bell goes off and that gun shoots off, man, it's all about draft and They've already begun compiling, tapes and cut-ups and, who are the players that are sort of on their radar. And then as they get closer to February and the early part of March and the early parts of April, then they'll start compiling and putting together their draft board and, the hierarchy of the positions they're prioritizing and the players within those position groups that they like. So it's an ever evolving process, but the process just sort of, once one draft ends, then the next one begins as soon as the college football season ramps up.
Looking forward to it, bro, and looking forward to seeing what our old man Rivers can do, because I think he's got it in him. We'll see, brother, but enjoy your weekend.
I will. Yeah, Monday night football this week, which is interesting. Yeah, so a little bit of a stretched out week this week and then a short week next week with Christmas in the middle of it. So we'll have to negotiate that.
Is Christmas next week? I'm just finding this out. This is news to me. It's breaking news. Man, got all kinds of stuff going on.
100%.
But yeah, enjoy the call. How are the calls on Monday night? Any different for you? Does it bring a little more energy?
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I mean, probably not. Believe it or not, and then this is, you can probably relate to this. The primetime games on radio are actually, unfortunately, those are your probably your lowest audiences of the year because everybody's at home. You know what I mean? Which is unfortunate, but we still bring the same gusto and the same energy and the same amount of prep and professionalism. So we hope everybody, if you are at home and want to go to the trouble of turning down the TV and syncing up,
turn the TV down.
We appreciate it. We always hopefully make it worth your while.
Last thing, I recently saw one of there was something that said, hey, here's how, if you want to listen to the radio call on a TV game, here's what you do. And the instructions were start running them, stop one until they are synced up. And I'm like, no joke. Did you take all day to come up with that? But appreciate you, brother. Make sure you're giving Matt a listen on the call for the Colts Monday night. Appreciate you, my friend. Have a great weekend.
All right, you too. Go IU.
You betcha. Matt Taylor joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Up next, the great Steve Wiltfong from On 3 Football Recruiting. It's about to get busy. Portal opens on January 2nd. We're back with more after these messages. Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer for a reason. Buy a new Honda and get a 3-month break from car payments. That's right, no payments for 90 days. That includes the all-new, all-electric Honda Prologue, and you get it for just 0.9% financing, or the 2024 Honda Ridgeline Black Edition, or the Honda Accord LX, both for just 1.9% financing. Get more to your door from AndyMooreHonda.com, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer and your best place for new and used vehicles. If you're looking for a new home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore from Brick and Ivy Realty. Cheryl Sizemore has over 2 decades of experience, and that could be the difference in getting the home you want in today's tough housing market. Reach out to Cheryl at CherylSizemooreSells@gmail.com or 317-701-0838. That's 317-701-0838. Let Cheryl Sizemore sell or find your new home today.
Huddle up, football fans. Tailgate season is here, and nobody gets you ready for game day like Academy Sports and Outdoors. Swing by your local Academy store or shop online at academy.com to find everything you need, from grills to jerseys and more. Be a watch party legend with gear from top brands like Nike and Under Armour, all at unbeatable prices every day. With 8 Academy stores across Indiana, including our Bloomington location, fun can't lose, and neither can you. Gear up today at Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Zach Browning here to tell you about an offer you simply can't pass up. If you're looking for the best coverage of Indiana football and basketball, which includes recruiting, weekly chats, podcasts, as well as access to the best national team out there, then look no further than thehoosier.com. The best part, it's just $1 for the first week. Oh, and did I mention that you get a full year of access to The Athletic when you sign up? You can't beat the coverage, and you can't beat the deal. So head over to thehoosier.com today and sign up for just $1. It'll be the best decision you ever made.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio on this Thursday. Appreciate you being with us. Hope you're staying dry out there. It's going to be rainy, at least in central Indiana. Hope everything else is going well. Steve Wiltfong from On3, the vice president for recruiting and transfer portal, which is about to get bizatch. Steve, thanks a lot for joining us.
Jim, good morning, man. What a day. What a weekend in the Hoosier State. A bye week for IU as they wait on who their opponent will be in the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, lots of excitement. That was just a great environment, a great game. Like it's one of those games that actually lived up to the hype. It was a fist fight. It was a just grinded out match against two teams that have great defenses. I tried to tell anybody that would listen that, hey, I guarantee Indiana's defense is just as good as Ohio State's. Their numbers are just slightly different, and that's all. But Indiana, I'm wondering, with the loss of Stephen Daly, that's the only thing for winning a national championship. I'm like, okay, can they get past that? They've gotten past all the other adversity throughout the year, including the fact that he was replacing a guy who they lost in Kellen Wyatt earlier in the season.
Well, the college football playoff is going to be a bit of a gauntlet for all of these football teams as they have to stay healthy on their quest to win a national championship. But we talked about it all year. The Broyles Award favorite is Bryant Haynes. And going into the Big Ten championship game, the public favorite was probably Matt Patricia at Ohio State going into the game. Coming out, how could it not beat Bryant Haynes? And good for Indiana for giving him a huge payday, as there was no question SEC programs and more high-profile programs were probably gauging interest in Bryant Haynes to be the coordinator. There should be programs gauging his interest to be the head football coach, in my opinion. But Indiana is lucky to have him, lucky to have Coach Shanahan, as this is a football team that boasts the number 2 scoring defense in America, number 3 scoring offense in the land. And Bryant Haynes, he sets the tone for the defensive side of the football in a similar fashion that Coach Cignetti just sets the tone for the entire football team. This is a very confident group. When they take the field, they know they are incredibly prepared to take on whoever they play on Saturdays. And they now have the pedigree. They go out to Oregon and win in Autzen Stadium. They go out and beat a talented Penn State football team on the road that was looking to have a highlight moment of a disappointing season, and then to beat Ohio State on a neutral field. And really the way that they play in the second half, they get better as the game goes along. So that's a credit to the strength and conditioning that they have at Indiana. But again, this program is prepared. They're clutch. You heard Coach Cignetti talk about the clutch gene that Mendoza had at the Heisman ceremony. He has certainly elevated his game in the biggest moments. And Alabama and Oklahoma, they get to beat each other up in prime time Friday night in Norman. And then they got to get ready for a Hoosiers team that is always incredibly prepared on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. And talking about guys like Bryant Haynes and Mike Shanahan, the thought or the worry for fans of those programs are, can you keep those guys? Because they're obviously a major part of your success. In this case, it's very unusual. Bryant Haynes has been with Coach Cignetti for a dozen years. Mike Shanahan, 11 years. Now they're both paid higher than a lot of mid-level head coaches. So I'm starting to wonder, do at least one of these guys hold out for the run of Coach Cignetti and become the next head coach at Indiana? Because you're already making dream money. You're at a successful program that is at the highest level. Do you really want to leave and go to, I'm not picking on anybody, Bowling Green, and beat your head against the wall and make the same money?
Well, I think that after this season, Bryant Haynes and Mike Shanahan are putting themselves on some lists. Like you see Will Stein, Oregon's offensive coordinator, just get the Kentucky job. Those are the kind of jobs that they would be in position for moving forward. Should Florida State, if they have another dismal season, hire Bryant Haynes or Mike Shanahan, those guys should absolutely be on the short list for the job at Florida State. down the road. But I'll tell you what, you talked about how long those guys have been with Coach Cignetti. That's a testament to the environment and culture that he has in place where assistant coaches enjoy working for Coach Cignetti. And then I think the contract extension for Bryant Haynes shows the resources and infrastructure and support that's being poured into Indiana football. And when Coach Cignetti took the job, he told me before game one of the season last year that there is an investment from the administration to support Indiana football. And I think it keeps going up a notch with each successful win and each successful season, the resources, as this is a football team that's all of a sudden proven that they can compete at the highest level and win a national championship. They're the number one team in the country, and it wasn't because of the schedule. They beat some damn good football teams to earn the right to be the number one team in the country. And these guys enjoy working for Coach Cignetti. It's an environment that they enjoy being in. It allows them to be their best versions of themselves as coaches. And it's certainly an environment and culture that puts the players in the best position to perform schematically on Saturdays. So it's tough to get these guys to leave, but ultimately we know how this profession goes. They're going to get their opportunity. It's what do they decide to do? But make no mistake about it, as much as we love Coach Haynes and we love Coach Shanahan, and they have earned the opportunities to ultimately run their programs, Coach Cignetti sets the tone. He sets the culture. And he is the guy that dictates the pulse of the day and how they're going to attack each practice, each workout. He has his finger on everything from scheme to recruiting to transfer portal. And he's lucky to have great assistant coaches. I think the ship would keep on rolling, and then those guys would be terrific hires elsewhere. But you got them now, and you're going into the Rose Bowl with three of the best football coaches in the country. And it looks like all three of those guys will be back next year as Indiana will aim to make another run at it.
And recruiting, obviously, a major, major part of that. Indiana has been a mid recruiter at best over the years, but you have to have success because success breeds success. Good players want to play with better players, and we've seen that. And the expectation is the recruiting for Indiana is going to start seeing an uptick. And a lot of reports have kind of shadowed that. A lot of yours. I don't want to give all the good stuff away. You can go to thehoosier.com and be a subscriber and get all the good stuff that Steve digs up, because a lot of inside information in there about who's going where and who Indiana is likely going to land. Some surprises in there, some big time recruits, a lot more of the 4-star guys. And some people, Steve, are going to say that, well, he's done so well with the kind of guys that he's brought in. Maybe he should stick with that. Well, I think he's going to bring in the same type of guys. They're just better athletes. That's all that's the difference.
Well, I think when you look at the way Indiana plays this year, they can go toe to toe with anybody with the guys that they have on the football field. And where Indiana has really made a lot of hay, they've hit on key guys in the transfer portal at key positions. That starts with quarterback, from Rourke to this year's Heisman Trophy winner, Francisco Mendoza. And so when you are landing or Fernando Mendoza, and when you're landing difference makers at that position, and certainly the Heisman Trophy winner, a first-round draft pick, and getting the best out of them, your program's humming. But they've hit big on all levels of the offense and defense, particularly in the trenches on both sides of the ball, and they've supplemented it with good recruiting. In this recruiting class that Indiana's bringing in 2026 is as talented a group as I've seen in quite some time. It's not one that is ranked in the top 10, but when you look at the potential that these guys have, you could see this team. These are guys that have the makings of competing for another Big Ten championship, and it's really good in the front seven. And particularly when you talk about guys like Henry Ollinger, Cavante Hugan, and Jaden Williams at the linebacker position, Henry Ollinger, Hugan, Jaden Williams, these are guys that can fly around. They got length. They play physical. They're high IQ football players. They're plus athletes at the position. These are guys that Indiana can really win with. It was a priority to hit big on the defensive line. Gabe Hill, Cameron McCaney were major recruiting wins for them. And then in state, a kid from Franklin Community, Blake Smith, he had an outstanding senior football season, a very disruptive player. These guys go over 300 pounds. They physically have the traits to be competitive in the Big Ten. Guys that Pat Kuntz, defensive line coach, should have a lot of success with. Casimir Hicks was as good a football player as there was in the state of Indiana. wide receiver, defensive back, can really run, a playmaker with the ball in his hands. He's going to be an exciting player in the secondary for Indiana. They really valued DeMonte Timms, a safety from the Peach State, who they added to the fold late in the cycle. LeVar Keys is a playmaking receiver from powerhouse Hyattsville, DeMatha. So really good recruiting class for Indiana. And what this season does is it sets them up to be tremendously successful in the transfer portal. Again, I think they have the resources to go out there and sign one of the best quarterbacks in the portal. I expect them to take a very experienced guy in the portal. And I would think Oregon and Indiana would be the two top destinations for a transfer portal quarterback in this cycle. And they may even be battling for a guy in Sam Levitt. And then we'll see where that chip falls and where that program pivots. It'd be to another good one. They have that panache and cachet in the portal, but Indiana is going to be able to present a very exciting style of football on both sides of the ball to guys in the transfer portal. They're going to be able to show a track record of immediate success from guys in the transfer portal to walk in, plug and play at a high level. And they're now getting the support and financial resources to be competitive for guys in the transfer portal to maintain this level of play while they bring along a tremendous 2026 recruiting class. And in 2027, I do think that they'll shoot their shot with some more higher touted guys, particularly in the recruiting footprint. They'll try and go toe-to-toe more with Ohio State and Michigan for Midwest guys. But I think the philosophy will stay the same. Who do we like? Do they have upside, length, speed, athleticism traits? Do they have the intangibles that we're looking for? Do they have the game film that we're looking for? And you'll continue to see Indiana be a developmental program. But when you have Curt Cignetti in the corner office, they're going to be as good a developmental program as there is in the country. So it's going to be hard for their top of the board targets to say no to Indiana down the stretch, where maybe they would lose an occasional recruiting battle to a Pitt or an Iowa State for that next tier recruit. Those guys end up at Indiana as the top of the board prospects for them. And I think they'll close more of those recruitments.
Yeah, and speaking of that, my opinion on what Indiana will do next year, far as a quarterback, is bring in a fifth-year guy, a guy that has the experience that you fans have seen with Curtis Rourke, now with Fernando Mendoza, and then because Tyler Cherry got hurt. A lot of fans are asking, well, if they're going to do this every year, then how are you going to recruit? And yada, yada. I'm like, well, Indiana got off cycle because of the Tyler Cherry injury. Alberto Mendoza waiting in the wings. I think he's going to be a great one for Indiana, just not there just yet. He'll have 3 years remaining of eligibility. So he'll have 3 years under him with Curt Cignetti of tutelage and being under Curtis Rourke, Fernando, his brother, and then whomever, let's say Sam Levitt. That's a pretty damn good classroom to be in, and then have 2 years to run with it. But I think they bring in a fifth-year guy.
What the transfer portal allows you to do now that you weren't able to do beforehand. Oregon is a perfect example of this. If they weren't able to go into the transfer portal, the quarterbacks that they've recruited would be fine players. They're good players, good prospects. They would still win 10, 11 ball games. But they're able to go into the portal and land a Dylan Gabriel, land a Dante Moore, a Bo Nix, and all of a sudden it makes them a playoff contender, a team that can make a run, go undefeated in the regular season, be number one in the country. And that is the air Indiana is breathing right now. If they were not able to go into the portal, if it was the old school and you were just developing who you recruited, Curt Cignetti would still field a good football team, and they would be a tough out, and they would fight for 10 wins and maybe some years compete for a Big Ten title. But the portal, they're a very attractive place because of the success they're having on the field to go in there and upgrade at the key positions. And you got to make tough decisions. We're a championship contender. We like our quarterback room, but there might be a more ready guy in the portal. We're going to go do that right now. And, the Mendoza family, the intangibles are off the charts. He'll wait his turn and he'll get his day in the sun at Indiana. But I would think the Hoosiers go in the portal and will be very attractive. I think they would land one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the portal. Like I said, I think Oregon and Indiana are setting the tone at the position in the transfer portal, and then it kind of goes from there. The dominoes go from there with other programs. They have to wait and see what happens at Oregon and Indiana. And if you're Indiana, you want Dante Moore to come back, and that puts Sam Levitt right in your lap.
And I've seen a couple people respond to things saying, not Levitt, but they never give a reason. And I'm like, really? Tell me why. Because he is an uber experienced, successful quarterback.
Well, I wouldn't understand why they would say not Levitt. I mean,
me either.
He's a competitive kid, a good leader, had some injuries this year, but led Arizona State to a conference championship. And quite frankly, they had Texas on the ropes in the college football playoff last year. And if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. But they had some tough calls in that ball game that went against them, where they probably knock off the Longhorns. He's very experienced, and you assume he would get a year better. And I've seen him practice. I've been out to Arizona State for practice. He's legit and sought after for a reason. He's been well coached throughout his college career. And you also assume that if he comes to Indiana, he goes up another level because of the Curt Cignetti factor. So he would
be the most experienced quarterback yet to come in. I think over both of the guys that have come in.
I'm actually surprised that you have listeners and readers.
Well, I'm not saying it's a lot. It's just a couple of people, but the thing that cracked me up is they never gave a reason. And I'm like, okay, you say no, but why?
Generally, when people do that, they want someone else.
Yeah. But
maybe there's some more high profile guys because of what their recruiting ranking was, but Sam Levitt was a 4-star recruit, and that stuff doesn't matter anymore. A recruiting ranking is a preview to what your potential could be in college. Sam Levitt has come to college and proven that he can win games at a high level and be a championship level quarterback. And there's a reason why he's being mentioned with the likes of Oregon, Indiana, LSU, and Lane Kiffin, because those are some of the best opportunities available for a transfer quarterback right now. In Indiana, you're in that area, you're in that space now, which even last year you weren't. But Mendoza was your guy. That was kind of it looked like he was always going to Indiana on the back end, but it seemed like that slowed down. It ebbed and flowed, but Indiana got him, obviously. And it certainly has paid off for Mendoza first, and then the return on investment for the Hoosiers forever, for both of them. I mean, he's going to have a statue at Indiana. He's a Heisman Trophy winner, and just had as special a senior season as anyone has had in college football, to take a program like Indiana to the next level and win a Heisman Trophy. It's an unbelievable story and just fascinating. And the Hoosiers will have to keep it going now in the college football playoff, and they avoid a rematch with one of the teams that they beat in the regular season in their first game, which I think is good to get them off and running. You know, they always say it's tough to beat a team twice. They'll probably have to do it at some point, but Oregon had to play Ohio State in the Rose Bowl last year after beating Ohio State in the regular season, gone undefeated. If I'm Indiana, I like getting Oklahoma or Alabama first and then seeing where we go from there.
Steve Wiltfong with On 3. He is the vice president of recruiting and the transfer portal. And you can find all of his insight
here.
Huh?
Door opener, whatever we need here.
He's got it all. And you can find all of his information at on3.com or with thehoosier.com, part of On3. And if you're not a member, you're missing out, because it is daily. The information that not only that Steve and the national guys are putting out, the local content covering the teams as well. Appreciate you, my friend, as always.
Jim, I'm going to have you read my eulogy. You guys take care. Have a good weekend.
You as well. Steve Wiltfong from On3 joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Great day. Big time fun with you guys as always. Back tomorrow for the Friday to do it again. Can't wait. Don't forget, go to thehoosier.com. You get the free IU quarter zip. I'll send it to you if you subscribe today and send me an email at indianasportsbeat@gmail.com. IU and ISB quarter zip there. Until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle.
I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.